Hey Joy fam, welcome to today's video. How listening to my wife made me over 500k. I wish it was as simple as, hey, she told me to do this and I did that, and yeah, we are here today and blah blah blah. But no, that's not what happened, you know. Hey, I'm the man of the house. I'm older than she is, you know. I'm wiser than she is. What does she know? I started working before she did. I'm probably smarter than she is, you know, so I tell her what to do. But hey, don't judge me yet. Those are just thoughts. But stick around to the end, and if you stay to the end, at the end I'll share a few things she's telling me now that I'm listening to, a few things we're working on, and a few things we're doing. And hey, this is not financial advice. This is just our story and what we think and our opinions. So yeah, let's roll. Joy fam, roll it. Hi, my name is Dayo, and if you're new to this channel, welcome. My wife Mary and I, we talk all things real estate, interior designs, DIY, new constructions. We just built our custom house, and we share the things we've learned along the way that's helped us reach where we are. And today I'll just be going a little into our lives and also a little personal from my perspective of how things have evolved. A few years after we got married, so after we got together, our lease then from the apartment we were staying was expiring, and then to renew the lease we were going to spend about maybe 1,600 or 1,800 per month for a 2-bedroom house. That was in San Antonio, and I was like, what the hell, you know, this is crazy. We might as well buy a house. Like most people, that's the point you decide to buy a house or do something. And so we decided to, okay, let's start looking for houses. But the thing was, you know women, Mary could be crazy at times. I mean, she's talking new construction and let's buy a new house, and I'm like, are you crazy? Like, come on, we're just starting out. this is our first home. It has to be a starter home, you know. Myth number one, you have to get a resale house. You know, new construction houses are probably too expensive, and you know, that's what I thought. So that was my belief system. Anything, you know, I was the Craigslist guy, Facebook Marketplace, anything I want to get, that's the first place to go look. And but yeah, she was of the opinion to search new construction homes. Anyway, fast forward, so we ended up buying a new house, and after about a year after that, we had to move, and we needed to sell the house. And but in that time, I realized how much. I think the first thing that did for me was it started opening up my mind, started breaking that mentality, you know, and I started to see how much that was just a better decision, like for us at that point. So we needed to sell the house, and at that point, so we had put into the house, I think we put 5% of 375, so that was about maybe 17,000, something like that, we had put into the house. But the good thing was we were able to break even, and that was not because so let me take you back. She brought up the, not just new construction, but she brought up the idea that we buy this house there was this community, Alamo Ranch, that was developing, and she was talking about how this is going to be like a really nice community. This is going to be the next place, this awesome development. And all I was thinking at that point was, it's a new house, let's go for a resale. I wasn't listening to any other thing she said. By the time we needed to sell, it became important because then in just a year the place had changed, and there was still so much room for growth, and it was just a perfect place. I didn't have to repair anything. Like, it was just the perfect decision we made. And selling, yes, we did break even, but that was because of some mistakes we made. And there's a video we've put on, you know, what to do and what not to do when buying a house. And so that's some mistakes we made, because we clearly could have made a lot more money on that house. So some of the mistakes we made regarding that house, going into it, for example, it was about 4,200 square feet, which was like like one of the biggest houses in that neighborhood at that time. And so it was like the biggest house in the neighborhood for the most amount of money. So while over time other houses were appreciating, like lower price houses were appreciating, like our price was driving the other houses up, but there was not much values above ours to drive ours up, so ours was just creeping up. So that's kind of one of the mistakes we made. So in looking at houses now, I mean, those are part of things we've learned. Another thing was I don't believe we negotiated as much as we could. We could have, or we should have. Yeah, like builder incentives or other things. They just gave us the price then, and we rolled with it. So those are just some of the mistakes we made. It was an inventory house, so there was not much addition we could do, and just those some of the mistakes we made, like entering into the house, which is pretty important. Like how you buy is one of the most important things, and watching out for your appreciation. But that's what happened. At that point, we had about 17,000 put into the house. And then this time around, I had to move to Houston, and we were looking for a house. And, I was a little more open-minded this time around, but you think I would have learned my lesson, and, whatever she says, I'll be like, okay, you know what, let's look into that and let's do that. But that was not the case. There was this property, there was this land, there was this neighborhood. She took me where you buy the lot. Then lots were selling for about 50,000 to maybe 75, 90,000 for maybe the water lots and everything. And at that point, I just looked at, am I crazy? Why would we want to build a house at this point? And by the time the house was completed, I just thought the cost was going to be too high for us. I didn't put anything down. I didn't put any number if I could afford it or not afford it. It was just a mental thing, And so I didn't even. I was open up to the mind of building a custom home at that point. And so we ended up. She took me. Our backup plan was this other neighborhood where it was more like a production build, but we could. There are options of buying inventory, options of buying a new house, and for some reason, I don't know why I wasn't so open to that. The resale house thing mindset was rearing his head up again, and I said maybe because my son, at that time we were pregnant, so Ore was coming. We were expecting Ore, and I just felt we didn't have time to build, let's just get a house. So we saw this house in Highlands and made an offer. But right at that point, heavy hit. And after the flood, we drove by the neighborhood and we saw that neighborhood flooded. So yeah, we didn't do that. And we ended up going back I didn't see anything light, and I was beginning to like new construction. So we ended up getting an apartment while we decided to build. So we just took, at that point, so that was the second house. We built that house, fast forward 2018, we moved in, and at the end of the day, initially it was about the same cost. The base price was about the same cost of the house. About 375, the same house we had in San Antonio. But then we ended up with all the options. We ended up going to 417. So we ended up at that point we had maybe about 20,000 into the house, and we loved it. But I don't know if you're like us, that you move into a new house and the next thing you're planning your next house. Yeah, that was us. Not because we loved it, we loved the neighborhood, but we enjoyed the process of building, and we're just thinking the next time we do this, we'll do this and that. But something happened. The first neighbor she brought us, she talked about, and the advice we buy a house, it never left our minds. Every weekend we were driving through the neighborhood and looking at all the houses. We just loved the place. It was perfect for our kids, and just right across the street from where we were living. Well, we just loved it. And so this is now about 2 years from that point in which he first brought it to my mind. And now the lots that were going for like 50,000 to 90,000 were selling for about 120 to 200,000. And at some point I've lived this house, it never left my mind. So I finally gave in, or I decided to listen. And I was like, you know what, I love it. You love it. You've been talking about this thing. Now I'm not. I love it. Let's just go ahead and do it. It was just a piece we had within us, and we decided to go ahead and make an offer, or just try to secure. I didn't know if we could have, but then we put the numbers. But at this point, I decided to, with an open heart, okay, you know what? Let's look at the numbers. Let's see if we can let's see how we can afford this. And then it was a matter of, you know what? If we sell this house we currently are, we are going to be able to build what we want to build over there, and we're going to be able to afford it. And the good thing was, in just a year and a half, we stayed there. Now we had about 100, and the house we bought for 417 was now selling for about 560, 580. So about 140, 150, so right about 148,000 equity in the land. And if we sell that, then we're going to be able to afford, we're going to be able to build the house we wanted to build. So that's what we did. We put the house on the market, but then the house sold in one day. So it was no matter of what are we going to do. So granted, we looked for an apartment or we looked for a house, but we decided to buy another house while we were building that house. So at this point, the 17,000 we put, maybe we added another 2,000. So total cost, maybe we were adding this was 20,000. We took that, and with the equity on this, so that 20,000 at this point I turned to about, let's say 160, yeah, so about 160k. So that 20,000 invested then, I turned to about 160k now, and that's what we did. So we took down 20% from that, put it into the house we were building, and then we took the rest. Yeah, we took the rest and we bought another house, and while we built. So at this point, something I did notice was this time around, on the second house we built, it was more of a joint effort. Like even if irrespective of whoever brought the idea, but at that point we worked together. Like it was wholeheartedly. Like I put the effort. We did research. I looked at it. Even while we were building, like it was more joint effort. It was not reluctant. Like I was more on board. And this new custom house we were building, that was two of us doing the research like right from time. Now it's grown on me. I was 100% in, she was 100% in, and it seems as if when, irrespective of who brings up the idea, when two people, when we both unite and we're both wholeheartedly, it's like miracles happen at that point. I don't go through spiritual, but then when we decided on the custom house to go for it, it was more of like I was starting to have a mindset of abundance, a mindset of gratitude. And like I wasn't going to have limiting beliefs. I wasn't going to believe I couldn't do anything because of what, I wasn't going to let the world tell me no. I wasn't going to let myself tell me no before I actually received a no. So that was what happened. We put the numbers down. We looked at it, and good thing, thank God for a wife. Like at that point I was like, let's even start talking to builders. But she already had communications with builders that she was talking to here and there. So at this point it was just to pick up from where we left, or where she left, and I came into play. I started talking to the builders, and we figured out, yeah, we can do this. If we take from the equity we already built up on this other house, we could get a down payment for this new house, the monthly payments from our jobs, that works. We could afford this house. I wasn't going to let the cost of the neighborhood scare me like I don't belong there, so but that's one thing that I know that changed, like our mindsets, just believing, being grateful for what we already have. We didn't have to, like our house was beautiful, we didn't have to move, but it was in agreement, we felt peace about it. This is what was in our lap, just something we wanted, and we went for it, and we did that. Another thing happened was the lots that were 50,000, about 60,000 to 80,000 then, now close to about 200,000. So it seemed high, it seemed like I'd missed the opportunity, but I knew from what we saw then, they were acre lots, and they were in close proximity to good work. It was close to Houston. I mean, it was a perfect location. We thought there was still potential. The neighborhood was not at the peak, but we just thought there was still potential for it to grow. And even if the price was this, we wanted it, we decided to go for it. It seemed high, but we felt peace with it, and so we closed on the lot for about 168. And yeah, we built the plans, and fast forward to last year, we moved into this home, and right before moving in, we just on the property, from what we signed to what things were selling, because you do an appraisal on the home at the time you sign, at the time you build the plans, and when you move in, you do another appraisal on the home. And then at that point, even before moving in, from the appraisal, we already had we had already gained about 400,000 equity on it. So that's so about $400,000 equity on the house, and that seemed crazy to me. And just to understand, these things are not typical. If you look at the real estate appreciation, yes, there are outliers. There are properties that sell for that. There are a lot of properties that go that remain stagnant or just decline. And so when you average all these things, you have an average appreciation map for a neighborhood and things like that. But you should know there are also properties, if you know how to look for it, that can do this kind of numbers. So at this point, just before moving in, the almost 20,000 we seem to have invested right at the first house, I turned to, yeah, that's almost over 500,000. The things that Alan was just more of, whenever my wife and I did work together, whenever we were on the same page about something, it seemed to work out, and for some reason the results were always way more than the effort we put into. It says you don't want to chase 1,000 to chase 10,000, something like that. And that seems to be what I'm finding out, just being in unison, being on the same page, whichever way it comes from or whoever brings up the idea. Nothing is like just seeing the potential in things. This neighborhood, one thing we saw, we really liked it, and for us, we just thought if we like it, a lot of people, it seemed like a hidden gem, and we decided to just take action and go for it. We decided to actually put it down on paper and look at, can this make sense? At the points we did our house, it did, for some reason, just there was just a fear about it. But I put it down on paper and saw it could work. So I'm like, why am I telling myself no? Why do I think I can't do this? If I remove the fear, I can. But for some reason, this fear is just coming from nowhere. So I decided not to listen to fear, listen from a page of gratitude. There are so many things that, there are so many feelings, that, you shouldn't do this now. Are you sure? What if this doesn't work out? What if you lose your job? What if? And I just thought, and then, I'm not afraid. If event happens, God got me. And my wife, I got my family. It's not about the house. It's the home. It's wherever we move to. It's just about taking action. So we did that. It turned out great. There's little things regarding like designing the homes, how we looked at the comps, tried to design even better houses for less, how we did a lot of DIYs, and we have a lot of videos showing the DIYs within a house. We have a lot of videos talking about even when you're doing when you're doing with a production builder, just the design things to do. We have videos on that, on just you're making selections, picking lots, selecting the builders. Those are all videos we've shared, and those are things we've highlighted in the past, and you could go back and watch. But as promised, I did say I'll say a few other things. My wife is telling me, but it's pretty hot over here. I'm sweating, so I'm gonna go inside now and let's go. Okay, so we've been able to grow our initial down payment on a house from about 20,000 to over 500,000, and that's because in each house we've bought, we've had about a 40% increase in equity in less than 2 years, within the first 2 years. And although this is not typical, I think the average appreciation of a house really depends on the housing market, but it's about 10%. Looking at this article, I found about 12 places with the best appreciation in Texas. So they have Austin as number one, with the average annual appreciation of about 4.6, but in the last year about 14.5. And of course, we know that everything in the last year, in 2022 and late 2021, 2022 has been way above the average. So Round Rock, Texas is seeing about 11.06 in the last year. Dallas is in an appreciation of about 12%. And Fort Worth, we've seen places like that. In Houston, we are seeing the average of about 3.5 in the last 20 years, year over year, and the appreciation greatly fluctuates from everything you can see from 3.5 to 14.5 to 7.7, but on average is about 10%. And just depending on the housing market at that point. Whichever case, the longer you stay in a house, the more it is. And there's the saying going around that in a new construction, it takes about 2-3 2 to 3 or 3 to 5 years for you to actually break even and start seeing profit from the appreciation. But I believe picking the right place, building a house in the right place, buying it the right way could help you increase your odds. And we've done it repeated times. So for example, what we're going into a custom home. By the time we went into a custom home, we knew houses were selling for about $1 million. About 5,000 square feet was selling for about $1 million, which is about about $200 per square feet, including the land. So we knew we wanted to come in way lower than that. We set the budget for $650. We had to increase our budget, but by the time all was done and we finished building the house, they did another appraisal at that point. And by the time the appraisal came in, we were about 40% over what we had paid for the house. So it's all about going with the right mindset. By the time you set a target, things will try to fall in place. You have an idea of where you're going to. And then, which brings me to the point. So some other places where we have videos about, if you're doing a tract home, things to do at the design center, how to buy it right. Or if you're building a custom home, we have videos on that, and we'll release more videos on the things we do, and that's kind of help us stay ahead of the curve. For example, I know at the time we were building, builders were given a lot of incentives, and it's one negotiating those incentives, they come in handy, or knowing the things that actually add value, trying to get as much square footage within a reasonable range, but for the cheapest amount you can get, knowing what upgrades to spend your money on and what not to do. What to have the builder build and what you can do afterwards on your own and allowing the builder to build. Or even in custom homes, doing your design style. Different design styles affect different prices. Things to where to buy things, where not to buy things. So there are different tips like that could help you put you in the best situation. But of course, today's prices are not tomorrow's prices, and it's all about the market. But there are ways for you to position yourself to be in the best position, and those are things we would like to share more. If you have any questions, just let us know. All right, guys, sorry about that. To go change, and it's date night today. But as I was saying, this house has been a blessing, and seriously, just realizing when we work together, listening, going on board 100%. Hey babe, you look good. I was just telling Joy Famm about how how I always have these insights, and I tell you things, and when you listen to me, things happen. I kind of told them how our story of house building, how we turned like 20,000 into like over 500K in equity. And so I was mentioning a few other things. You are listening, you are whispering in my ears. Let's go. Let's go to the car.
It's date night.
Look. Hey, baby. What's going on? Hey, what's your name? Can I get your number?
I'm hungry. Let's go.
You're married. So as promised, in the description or in comment, I'll leave just a few properties that my wife is whispering in my ears, of places we're actually looking at, maybe some of which we've invested in or we're looking to invest. In fact, but the greatest tip is it's all about the buying. It's how you buy the property, whether a house or a land. For example, there's this one land, Scenic in Highlands Lakes in San Antonio. They were looking at the houses over there are selling in the millions, and the land, the parcel of land there goes for about between 100 and 200,000, depending on the size. So I think from there's a lot of room looking at comps of the neighborhood. So those are just some tips into. It's all about the buying. It's even if you're buying an inventory home, it's looking at what things are selling and how much am I getting. How much other people paying for what I'm actually getting. And so I'll list a few properties, and I'll leave it in the description. And also, if you know of any hidden gems, feel free to share. Feel free to let us know. And if you have any questions regarding all those things, if you have any questions, do let us know. I know I didn't leave so many detailed numbers. And a few weeks ago, I was just in the tax office fighting my taxes, telling them they overestimated the value of my home. I didn't want to pay so much taxes, and that's just one of the perks of buying right, as we say. But check out our other videos if you My wife left a detailed video about how to, what to do if you're buying a tract home, and just steps when you go to design center, and just in general how to get the best deal to increase your equity. I'll leave a link. I'll leave a link to that video here. And thanks for watching. Stay, yeah, joy fam.